All right, fourth graders, it's a late night. I totally forgot about this lesson, teaching it, that is. I didn't forget about putting it on Google Classroom. So a couple things. This is titled, we're so close. We've got 3 more lessons to do before this chapter is finished. This one's 14.9, Changing Metric Units. And before we begin, I wanted to review with you just a couple of things to keep in mind. I want you to keep in your head the difference between the bigger units and the smaller units. And I'm going to give you, in today's lesson, you'll notice that there is a chart. It's called the King's chart. And it really just shows you the conversions between each. So this chapter taught 3 different things about the metric system. You have your lengths, your capacities, and your mass. And these are the measurements for all of them. So the lengths has the most that you have to kind of memorize. And it's really basic. It's all by powers of 10. So we have millimeters. So there's 1,000 of those in a meter. There's centimeters, and there's 100 of those, and that's why it's based over as a fraction here. There's decimeters, there's 10 of those within a meter, and meter we just considered 1. That's going to be our unit we use here. They just take you to km, doesn't notice my mistake, it should be km, kilometers there. And that will be 1,000 meters. So again, everything is on base 10. Capacity, we're dealing with milliliters, the tiniest. There's 1,000 drops or milliliters in a liter. And for mass, we're working with grams. And we remember that lesson where we talked about it as being a cracker, just a little cracker. And then there's kilograms. So it takes 1,000 grams to equal a kilogram. So that's just our basic review. Let me get you kind of set up for today's lesson. Behind me on the computer screen, this is what you'll find in the lesson. This is the conversion chart. This is the one I found. It says King Henry died unusually drinking chocolate milk. Then the one that I've always used is King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. And it doesn't matter either way. It's a mnemonic device to help you remember the difference between the large units and the small units. It's a bit confusing and it tells you how to figure it out, but just know that, just remember sort of the prefix on each one of those and it'll help you. Okay, today's lesson is all about using different units in comparison. So you're going to see inequalities today. So you're going to have, of course, a circle. And when I ask you guys in your lesson to give me context, tell me what's on either side. So this is an actual example that's there on page 382. And on one side it says 1 kilogram, whoops, 1, that's a 1 kilogram and 125 grams is greater than or less than 1,300, I have my glasses on, 80 grams. Okay, so you'll notice that they gave you 2 units you have to combine on this side and then 1 over here for standard. So what you're going to have to do is take this one down to grams. So 1,000 kilograms is how many grams? Or excuse me, 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 kilograms. So I'm going to add that to my 100.
No, 1,000 grams. 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams.
Thank you. It's been late. I'm a little sleepy. And we have 125 grams. So we're going to add these 2 together, and that will help us with this inequality over here. And I think you can easily convert that. It's nice adding them all up. So if you're doing this in the very end, which is more? All right. 1,125 grams, I should label, or 1,380 grams. So you know very much that the larger of the 2 numbers is right here. So Mr. Chompers is going to eat this guy. So again, working with inequalities, you might have to take them and move them around. Let's go with another example from today's practice. So I'm going to go to GP and tell me these for a while. GP, and the first example, I'm going to read you the directions so you can kind of work on this one. It says in 1 through 4, find each missing number. So they're going to give you the box. This is 1 kg, so kilogram. We're talking about mass. And then they leave the equal sign and they have a blank grams. So they're going to ask you how many grams are in 1 kilogram. And remember what we talked about? That's right. It takes 1,000 grams to equal 1 kilogram. So number 2, my pen is dying, so that means this chapter is almost to the end. Number 2 says 3 cm equals how many millimeters. I can't say that. Know which one is the larger of the two units. So milli means 1,000, centi means 100. So 3 centimeters is equal to how many millimeters? So there's 10 millimeters to 1 centimeter. So that's kind of what you got to keep in mind. So really what you're doing is you're just multiplying 3 times 10 on this side, so you can get 30. So that is your answer right there. The whole process, and then the next couple, I believe they're going to throw, so those are 2 of the filling in the blanks. And then like I mentioned to you, you're going to have to do, I'm just going to skip down to 5. And in 5 through to 8, you're going to compare, you're going to write greater than, less than, or equal to. So 3 meters, they're going to have this inequality spot here is equal to how many centimeters? Which one is bigger? So in my mind, I go ahead and I translate them to things that I can talk about. So 200 centimeters, that's pretty small. Centi, there's 100 centimeters in a meter. So this really is 2 meters. This is 3 meters. So you're going to have to do some of that conversion. This is 2 meters on this side, and this is 3 meters on this side. So you know that 3 is larger than 2. So that conversion is going to have to happen for you guys. I'll do one more to kind of, don't know what I did with my eraser. Guess my coat will work. Must have fallen on the floor. And let's just do 6. So this one's going to deal with liters. So 4L, big L, that's how they write it, to 7,000 ml. And I do little L on that. Big, excuse me, like that. So I want you to keep in mind which is the bigger and smaller units. So we know liters are big units, milliliters are small units, and it's a base 10. So there's 1,000 milliliters in a liter. So what does that mean? I know it's hard to explain this, but you can work in your head. It's pretty easy. You can translate either one. So 4 liters, if you wanted to, you could say, well, that's equal to 4,000 milliliters. That gives you a comparison. So you can see that 7,000 milliliters is bigger. Or you could work vice versa. You could do, oh my gosh, it does seem like things are working out here. You could do 7,000 is actually 1. Let's see, excuse me, this would be 7 liters. And I just did that by combining how many thousands are in here. And then I did 4 liters on this side. So you know that 7 liters is more than 4 liters, or you could look at it as 4,000 versus 7,000. That's the job today. Use King Henry's chart to help you. It's pretty cool because it does how many times smaller, 10 times smaller, 10 times 10 times 10 times smaller, since we're dealing with the decimal system in this place. That's it. We'll check in tomorrow, see how you guys are doing. Bye, 4th graders.